I think there's so much growth and opportunity for content folks.
There's greater emphasis now on people in content roles. CMOs are seeing they're going to have more content creators in their organizations.
There's so many avenues that you can go down, so many paths you can take.
We've just finished one of the most important pieces of research that I think we've done in our history.
We are so excited to release the first ever Content Marketing Careers and Salary Outlook. We really wanted to dive deep into key issues for content marketers, like work-life satisfaction, career development, and pay expectations.
I think one of the most positive things that came out of the salary survey was how satisfied we are in content marketing as a practice and how successful we feel at it.
Your goal as a marketer is to be the world's best marketer for your company.
It offers rare insight into the aspirations of content marketing professionals.
Do you want to follow the content path upwards? Be the director of content, the head of content, the VP of content, the chief content officer.
If you love the intersection between art and science and the creative and the technical, this is exactly where you should be. This is the most fun you're gonna have in your career.
Content turns out to be this great superpower.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Amanda with the Content Marketing Institute. Thank you for joining me for our Monday Ask the CM World community live stream, where each time we dive into a new topic with an awesome guest from our CM World community. Today's live stream, if you didn't know, is brought to you by the Content Marketing Institute. We are the leading training and education organization for all things content marketing. And we have been very busy this month of October. So if you head over to the contentmarketinginstitute.com, you can see what we've been up to. We just released our brand new career and salary survey. We also just released our annual B2B content marketing research. And last Thursday, we released new research on content marketing and video, the 2022 Video and Visual Storytelling Survey, sponsored by our friends at Vidyard. And we are chatting about that research here today. So as you're joining me, I already see we have so many people joining us. Please give me a virtual wave. Say hello. Let me know where you're joining us from. I see Jessica from Columbus, Julia from the Sudan. We have Gina from Ohio. We have Jay, Lavinia. Man, we have people from all over. Tom from Germany. Thank you all. Jason, DC. We appreciate all of you joining us today. So I am going to kick off today's live stream by asking you the same question that we asked our video survey respondents. What are some of your company's biggest video challenges? I know for us here at CMI, for me, I'm ahead of our video production. It's time, it's resources. And here's what some of the respondents told us. One person said, we don't have clear ownership of processes yet, which means no one really owns the video strategy. There's no shortage of video ideas and opportunities, just not enough budget and resources. Do any of this sound familiar? Two key things: cohesive strategy and consistency. Why should we be investing in video versus other formats, and how to distribute and build the audience to make it worthwhile. Telling complex stories visually, engaging social media audiences who want to be entertained, and finally, being able to plan and strategize the right videos versus servicing the flood of video requests that come in. So I bet one or two of those challenges sounded familiar to all of you. So we all know video is these days a critical piece of many successful content marketing strategies, but is it being used to the full potential? That's the question we set out to answer in the newly released 2022 Video and Visual Storytelling Survey. Unfortunately, the answer is no, but today we're going to chat about some ways to hopefully help you with your video marketing efforts. And joining me today is Tyler Lessard. He's a truly engaging and dynamic, entertaining thought leader in the areas of B2B marketing and content marketing, video selling, and he is the headless chief video strategist at Vidyard. Hello, Tyler. Are you there?
Hello, I am here. It is so great to be here. I mean, after reading the report, I totally lost my head about where we're at with video. So it's great to be here, and a happy Halloween to everybody out there.
Yes, we are clearly celebrating here today as well. And video can be very scary for people to get started in. So let's dive in here, Tyler. 73% of marketers told us that video has become more important to their business in the last year. Yet only 12% say they use it to their full potential. What are your thoughts? What is going on here?
Well, this has been consistent over the last probably 5 years now that I've been speaking with marketers and business leaders. I think the understanding that video is a very powerful medium to educate, to engage, to even entertain audiences. Speaking of what's happening right about now. And yet most still haven't kind of gotten to the point where they feel like they can create, publish, track video content at the same kind of scale and consistency and frankly quality as they can with written content. And most marketing teams are still very heavy on content writers, right? And we certainly need great writers also for writing video scripts, designers and others, but most aren't yet embracing video as a core internal capability. And so we need to make sure that we are building up our marketing teams where we have video creation skills. And I say creation very carefully, not production, video creation skills internally within our teams so that we can create video content as consistently and as cost effectively as we can writing an email, writing a blog post, or creating a static piece of content. So I think that's the big opportunity for us. The demand for video is there. We need to figure out how to solve the supply problem without always relying on freelancers and agencies that are going to, of course, beef up our costs and reduce our time to market.
Thank you for who have joined us already today. Debbie says she loves Vidyard, so she's in the perfect place here. Thanks for joining us, Debbie. All right, so 85% of marketers say they get average or below average results with their video efforts. When we ask them, what do they need to get better results, they most frequently recited a video strategy. That's something that we always hammer home here at CMI. So what are some of your tips about how do they go about developing a successful video strategy?
It's interesting these days. Going back, 3 to 5 years, I used to talk a lot about developing and owning a centralized video strategy. And that starts with having an internal champion, likely somebody who is also part or responsible for the content creation and production. But these days, I actually lean a lot more towards video is really a part of our various marketing and sales strategies. And I'm actually no longer convinced that we need a dedicated video strategy. We need to be better at thinking about how does video play an active role in our various core marketing strategies, whether that is thought leadership to build audience awareness and communities, whether it's to drive greater engagement, conversion through our digital properties, whether it's helping our sales teams become more efficient sellers by leveraging great content to clearly explain how it is that they can help. And so I think more and more about how do we make video just an integrated part of how we go to market, and then figure out which parts of our existing programs or which types of programs can we get the biggest bang for the buck with video. And of course, there's things like social media, thought leadership, digital marketing, websites, all the way through the rest of the funnel. So there's so many opportunities to leverage video, but I would encourage people to think about how can video best support our core strategies as a marketing and sales organization. And that's where you want to lean into. And don't get too hung up on having a standalone video strategy, because it's not an island unto itself anymore.
I would, yeah, definitely. And I think it becomes less intimidating. It's like, oh, we have to have, the content strategy, and then we have to have a video strategy, and it should all, be cohesive and go together. If you're just joining us, if you have a question for Tyler about video, we are chatting about that today. Next question here from the survey: 74% say their organizations should spend more on video. That's interesting. And 64% expect their video budgets to increase next year. So what is your best advice on the best use of video budgets? What are some of the top things companies should be looking to spend their money on? There's Tyler.
Oh, hey, everyone. I made it. It's getting hot in there.
Yeah.
So really, really interesting. And there's a few different ways to think about this. I typically start with how we build up, back to my earlier point, our internal resources and capabilities for video creation, video production, and video enablement in the organization. For example, if I had, let's call it a $200,000 budget next year, rather than using that to produce 4 big $50,000 videos, I would make sure that we hire, if we don't already have, a dedicated video creation, video production resource internally, and or augment that individual with either freelancers or budget to help them scale content creation, but to do so efficiently in a way where they can support things like our thought leadership programs, our social media programs, and even creating content for our sales teams. And so I think about investing in it as a way to extend our content marketing strength, if you will, rather than saying, okay, we're going to allocate the budget to produce these 3 videos next year. So that to me is number one. I would say focus on the skills and the talent. You're going to get way more productivity out of them in the long term. The second thing, in terms of which content do we then focus on, which is either how do we put those resources to work, or where do we save some money to work with an agency to produce bigger, bolder content? To answer that, obviously it's different for every business. It depends on where you have the biggest needs, right? If your organization is, or your marketing team is, really focused on generating top level awareness, right? Maybe you're just not bringing enough people into your marketing funnel. I would focus my budget from a video perspective on amping up our thought leadership programs. Think about creating an episodic video series that you could both leverage on channels like YouTube and other social media channels, but also have as a core part of your content strategy, things that are going to supplement on your website, in your email marketing campaigns, content your sales team can put out there to engage potential clients, right? So some of those things can really work well if you're thoughtful about where does it fit into that, and how can I use it to not only draw eyeballs in. Like, I think a lot of content strategy focuses a little too much on SEO and inbound. We need to think more about, once we've got those eyeballs, how do we keep them engaged? How do we give them content that they're like, this is so great, I can't wait for the next one? And that's where things like, great video content can really work. So that's one area. But again, if your issue is, hey, I've got lots of leads in our funnel, our problem is they're not moving through fast enough or at a high enough rate, then I would think about where could video intersect with that and support that challenge, because video is the best way to clearly explain ideas, especially for prospects who don't want to get on a live demo with a sales rep. And let's be honest, very few do. So maybe you want to focus your investment on creating amazing micro demo videos or killer explainers that have great personality to them that people really want to engage with to move them through the funnel. So think about where your biggest needs are. Frankly, that's where you're going to put the budget for your video content.
That's great. And we have a lot of great comments coming in. So Jay says, you don't need a big budget. You need technical skills in shooting, editing, scripting, hire broadcast journalists. That's a perfect skill set.
Yeah.
And of course, you have an iPhone or any phone, you can record right from there. Let's see here. Sarah says people have the misconception that you need expensive equipment. What else we have?
Amanda, you and I are making a video right now.
That's right.
Like this, And afterwards, if we're smart, we're going to like cut it up into some great little sound bites. We're going to use it on social media. We're going to use it in different places. And I love that comment and those coming in that, again, not only is it more accessible to create video content because we do have, great gear now at our disposal. But on the other side, the expectations of audiences has changed significantly, right? They're not expecting every video or frankly any videos to be drone footage, Super Bowl commercial kind of content. In fact, more and more people are like gravitating towards, get your buzzword bingo cards out, authentic content that's like real people talking about real ideas in casual, personal ways, folks that they can relate to, and it doesn't feel like they're scripted. Right. So more and more of that is becoming a part of how we're creating content in general. And video has such a big role to play in that. It's this great transparency layer with our audiences now. So if you can get a great internal video creator who's got the skills and equally important, internal advocates or folks who can be out on camera in your content, because hiring an actor to try to talk about the challenges your audiences may face, it's okay for your home screen, your homepage video, if you will. But as you talk about thought leadership content, educational tidbits, social media content, the more you can include people from within your business and identify some of those who are, great, have the ability to be thought leaders or great on camera, develop that internal talent and start doing that today. And trust me, it'll pay off.
Yeah, they're usually your internal folks are some of your most passionate advocates for what you're doing. So if you have some people on your staff that you can, really coach and highlight, that's a great opportunity right there. But when we're talking about buy-in, we're talking about budgets. Going along with that, you kind of have to show that your video is successful and doing well. So I think it's important to point out in this survey how companies are measuring video success, because 71% say view counts is their top metric, which isn't always the best way to measure the success of a video. So what do you think some metrics, everyone wants to hear this, like what are some of the metrics marketers should really be looking at if they want to see how successful their videos are?
So I use a simple framework called the 3 R's when it comes to metrics for your video content. And the 3 R's are reach, resonance, and ROI. Last one's a bit of a cheat. So reach is absolutely, the number of views your content is getting. And reach is more so an indication of how well you're distributing or promoting that content. But of course, view counts and reach are sometimes a bit of a misnomer or misrepresentation of the success of a video, because you can put all sorts of promotion dollars behind it and get lots of views. So reach is interesting, and it can be a signal that, hey, a certain video is getting shared a lot. But it is your first one to understand how many people are actually engaging with this. The second, resonance, is all about tracking the engagement metrics in the content itself. And video is great for this, right? Much more so than lots of other forms of content, because with the right tools behind it, we can actually know how long people are watching, right? What parts are they skipping? What parts are they replaying? And so that's all about resonance, right? People who click play, how long do they tend to stay tuned? What's the average view time? And again, can you see anything in the trending data to know whether or not this content is really resonating with the audience? And that's really, really important. And that's really an indication of content quality and, again, audience resonance. So that's the other thing you're going to want to look at. Very, very important. And then finally, ROI. And this is that video, or are these different videos achieving their intended purpose when we created them? If our purpose with a video was perhaps very quote unquote top of funnel, right? Maybe it was a social media video that was all about just getting kind of awareness and brand association, then reach and resonance might very well be your primary metrics. But if there's content where you're trying to drive direct conversions, right? So maybe there's a video that you're trying then to take somebody from that thought leadership to say, hey, if you're interested in learning more about this, check out this amazing report or this guide or this other video series about that topic. In those cases, you'll want to be measuring how well is it converting to that CTA, right? That to me is more interesting. How many people, went to that destination page as opposed to how many actually watched it. But then finally, for those videos that you actually want to think about, is this helping us generate new leads or even helping us influence pipeline or revenue, right? Those are the ultimate measures often of a lot of our video content. But that's very difficult for a lot of marketers to track. When you're publishing videos online, it's often, you don't know who's actually watching which videos. And so it's impossible to know, did it actually result in new pipeline or new revenue? But again, that's where technology like a Vidyard comes into play, where the right video hosting platforms, in many cases, will be able to identify who's watching which videos and get that data into your marketing and CRM system. So you can start to see, oh, this video has helped to influence this amount of pipeline, or these many deals were directly influenced by these video assets. So that starts to give us a better understanding of not only reach and resonance, but are these videos contributing to pipeline and revenue? That to me is really the end goal, but it's very, very hard for a lot of marketers to do today.
Yeah, and the tools over the years, just I've seen personally, like what Vidyard uses and any of the other platforms, has definitely gotten more sophisticated over the years. So it's definitely easier than it was before to kind of decipher all of that, what you're talking about.
Well, one of the big challenges, right, is that most of our viewers are anonymous. We have no idea who they are. And but what's interesting that I've found with a lot of our clients is that once you have the system set up to be able to track and know, hey, they watched this video and they watched it 30%, 50%, or 100% of the way through, and to be able to start to trigger actions off of that, it starts to get really interesting because it actually starts to change the way you think about what content you create, right? I'll give you an example. One of my favorite customers, my good old dear friends at Marketo. I'm sure all of you marketers are somewhat familiar with the Marketo, now part of Adobe, but I'm old school, so I'll still refer to them as Marketo. It's a story I know well because I'd worked with their team on this project. A number of years ago on their website, they, like many SaaS tech companies, used to have the big call to action on their page was book a demo with sales, right? Or talk to sales. And, they started testing out, what if instead of asking people to book a demo, what if we replaced that with a nice big button that said, watch a product tour or watch a demo? And when they click on it, it takes them into a little demo portal where they can watch videos of all of our different capabilities. And it may not surprise you all to hear that their conversion rates on their website went way up because, of course, right? Like very few people click book talk to sales, but tons of people were like, yes, I absolutely want to watch a product tour. Show me now, right? It's like, it's on demand. It's what I want. But what was interesting is they said, well, if we're able to track and know who's watching and which videos are they consuming, we can now build this whole lead funnel on this. So now when they drive people in to watch a product tour, they have 9 different videos in there. Each one is on a different capability. And they're tracking, and, Amanda, if you're on their site, they'll know you watched, the video about email marketing all the way to the end. And then you watch the video on account-based marketing 30% of the way through. And all of that data flows into their lead qualification engine. So they can now send leads immediately to sales where they know this person just watched 25 minutes worth of videos on these 3 topics. And then you go, okay, that's interesting. So instead of like focusing a lot of my efforts on social videos, maybe we should make ones that are really more mid-bottom of funnel that can help qualify people based on their engagement. So that's the stuff that really gets me fired up because once we reveal who's actually watching our videos, it's like a total game changer.
Right, exactly. That's a ton of information right there about your videos.
Cool.
All right, so finally here, 41% of marketers say social media videos are the video type that produce the best content marketing results in the last 12 months. And the rest of the video types like how-tos, branded stories, case studies, they were, in the 20% range. So, maybe, excuse me, what are some tips on succeeding with social media video?
Yeah, social is, it's changed a lot. All our social platforms are now content platforms straight away. And if we're not thinking about them that way, now is the time. And video is becoming, of course, a predominant content format for these different channels. We're seeing it ourselves. We're seeing it consistently in our community that social video is working really, really well to create a lot of engagement. Assuming that content is designed for social consumption and is really optimized for audience resonance. And my recommendations today, as you think about using video on social media, first and foremost is whenever possible, you should be creating content for the social channels you're targeting. So rather than, hey, I made this great customer case study, it's a great 3-minute long case study, it's on our website, we're going to push that out on our LinkedIn and Facebook pages, and maybe we'll even slap it up on TikTok and see if anybody watches it. I mean, that's okay, but I really encourage you to think about, okay, on our social channel X, what is the expectation of audiences? And let's create content for that channel. Or at the very least, let's take the existing content we're making and reformat and optimize for that channel. Now, on a lot of the social media channels, obviously shorter is often better. You have to think about, is it like an outbound push channel, like a TikTok or a LinkedIn or even a Facebook? Or is it, and in those cases, short and sweet, right into it? Or is it more of an inbound channel, like a YouTube, where people are coming to consume and they might actually appreciate longer form content with more depth and information? So you really want to understand the nuances of the different social channels and how video works on them. Most importantly, for those push channels is get right into it, right? The best way to, shorten up your content is get rid of the introductions, right? It's not a place for like, hey, everybody, it's Tyler from Vidyard, and today we're going to da-da-da-da-da. It's like, no, that's what the title and description for the video is for, right? Get right into it. It's like, hey, are you making this mistake? If so, here's an idea for you. So be smart, study, these social networks and the video content that really does seem to resonate, and really lean into it. And if you don't feel like you have good social video creation skills in your team, again, that's an area to perhaps skill up, or to hire for as you think about this next, sort of wave where creators are really becoming some of the best content marketers out there. And they kind of have that social media boom, making content for a TikTok or an Instagram or a YouTube. I think a lot of the future content creators in B2B marketing teams are going to come from those who have been really successful on platforms like TikTok and YouTube.
Yeah, it's so important. And I feel like I've noticed this more watching my kids watch different social platforms and how they use them, and then how those creators are creating video on those different platforms is all different for the most part. And how they're doing it. So that's been very eye-opening. And that's just watching observing what my kids are doing. So I absolutely agree. And you have, like, going on TikTok is not the same as going on YouTube these days. So they're
quite the opposite.
Yes. Well, Tyler, thank you so much for joining me. This has been so much fun. We had some great conversations going on in the chat. Tyler will actually be talking more about video and social video during our Visual Storytelling Summit. It's a virtual summit this Wednesday and Thursday, and you can head over to this link here to register for that event. And I know he'll have many more great insights for that. In the meantime, Tyler, where can people connect with you, learn more about Vidyard?
Yeah, I'm a big LinkedIn guy myself, so please hop on over to LinkedIn, Tyler Lessard at Vidyard, and connect with me. Ask me any questions there if you'd like. Happy to chat. And of course, Vidyard, just vidyard.com, nice and easy to check out. Great tools for video hosting and analytics, as well as video messaging. So take it from there. But I can't wait for the Visual Storytelling Summit. Yeah, we're going to dive deeper into things like TikTok and YouTube, as well as how to use video on your website to drive more conversions. So excited for that. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you for all of you who joined us today. We really appreciate it. Until next time, I will see you. See you, Tyler.